using the Engage workflow tool. So your forms will drop into here from My Surgery app. So the first thing to do is go to your account, which is the head in the circle in the right hand corner, and select Covering on the left hand side. From here you can select colleagues and groups you want to cover to see what requests have been assigned across to them. So for example, if I selected a colleague, so Dr. Rankin, I've highlighted Dr. Rankin in blue, and if I now click Save, I'll be covering Dr. Rankin, so I'll be able to see requests assigned to him. I can also do the same for groups. So if I select groups at the top, I can select what groups I need to cover to see what requests have been assigned to that group. So for example, I'm going to cover the doctors group, incoming requests, which is all requests incoming into the practice, and the pharmacist group. And I'm going to click Save, and now I'll be covering those groups. So when I now go back to my requests page, you can see those groups and colleagues have been added on the left hand side. So if I just want to see the request for Dr. Rankin, I can just go in and see what requests have been assigned to him or for the doctors. You've also got the All inbox, so you can see all requests incoming into the practice. And then you've got your All Covered inbox, so any of those groups and colleagues you've covered, it will show under the All Covered group. So you can see we've received a new request. It's highlighted in blue and bold, and you can see the patient's details on there and the form they've submitted. So if I select that request, it will come up to link with that patient in Vision. If it can't find the patient straight away, you can select from the list from using either their last name, first name or date of birth, as you can see on my screen. So I'm just going to select my test patient in this instance. And then you select Identity Unmatched, and you can vouch for this patient. So perhaps you telephoned them to confirm their identity, you looked at information held on Vision, you can choose and then select Confirm. You can now see that that patient link has successfully been verified. So you can see on this request, you can see the patient's information at the top. You can download the request as a PDF if you needed to. If you scroll down the request, you'll see the form they have submitted, and any photos and attachments will be added there as well. You can download those attachments and delete them if they're not appropriate. You've got the option to set a priority on this request, so you can select unprioritised and pop if it's urgent, same day or a routine request. So for example, if I mark this one as urgent, I can write a reason for changing the priority, or I can just click Save, and you'll see it updates that front screen to say this is an urgent request. I can then click to order by priority, and that'll bring all my urgent requests up first, then my same day, then routine. So I know which requests I need to deal with first in the day. You've got other order bys there as well, so you can choose how you filter through these requests. If we go back into that request, you can set a status. So if you select on the drop down, let's say we mark this one as triaged. Again, when we go back to that home screen, a symbol will be added so you know that particular request has already been triaged. You've got other options here as well, so you can mark it unread, new response, completed, and if you're waiting for the patient to respond. You can contact the patient by video call, so you can pop in the patient's mobile number or copy the link and send it via email. You can add more participants to the call, and you can also send yourself a link by SMS if you needed to conduct that call off a mobile phone, for example. You would click Join Now and you will then be connected on the call, and it will then code into the clinical system if that patient attended or did not attend that call. You've also got your action button. So you can click whether to assign that request across to someone else. So perhaps that needs to go to another group or colleague. So you can select from the list or type in your group or colleague. So we'll send this one across to the doctors. And you'll now see us mark that request unread. And if we go into the doctors group, it's now been placed in their group for them to deal with. And you can see all the updates we made previously still on that request. You can also add a note to this request. You can use your templates, and they're on a personal or an organisation level, and that will auto-fill the message for you. So it's added the text into there for me. I can go and add any attachments from my computer, and I can also assign the request across to someone else if I needed to at that point as well, so to a group or colleague. I click add note and that gets added to the request, so anyone that goes in and view this request can see the note I've added. You've also got these tabs at the top, so you can look at request details, so the inquiry and the patient details. You can go and look at those notes in one list. You can see any attachments sent from the patient and sent to the patient. You've got your readings tab, and you've got your audit log, so anyone that does anything on this request will be logged. When you're ready to send the request to the clinical system, you can select Action, Send to Clinical. You can edit these top three boxes, so the heading, title and detail if you needed to. You can add a consultation method, so if that was a message face-to-face you can choose. And you can add an outcome as well to that request. You can also select if you want to upload those photos or files to the clinical system. And you can select and deselect what you want added to the clinical system. Once you're ready, you can either just send that to the clinical and leave that request open, or if it's completely finished with, you can send to clinical and complete. Once it's been sent, it will take you back to the main screen to go and deal with that next request. But you can always get it back by going to the completed tab. You can reopen that request if you needed to. Displayed on the screen is a screenshot of how it would look in the Vision clinical system, depending on how you've chose to add it. So either as structured data at the top or as a PDF at the bottom. It will also be coded as an online consultation in the patient's record. You've also got the Patients tab at the top, so you can go in and search for a particular patient in your clinical system. You can click to find that patient, and you can see any requests or video consultations that patient have had previously. In your account, by selecting the head in the circle again, you can go and edit your message templates, so you can add personal message templates to use when adding notes. You've also got your toolbar, so if you click the two arrows pointing inwards, you can open up your toolbar and it will show you on the screen if you've got any new requests come in to the groups and colleagues you've covered in the red bubble. You can also start a video call and create a request from there as well. Or you could create the request from inside the Engage client by clicking Create a Request. Select if the inquirer is the patient or not. Search for that particular patient. Click Find Patient. Pop in their telephone number and select Next, and then select if it's an admin or medical query. So if it is an admin for a sick note, for example, I could go in and enter that admin query on behalf of that patient, set a priority and also assign it to a particular group from that point. When you then go in your inbox, you'll see there's a new request that you've just submitted on behalf of that patient. In your menu tab, you've got the management console, and in there you've got your audit log, so anything that gets changed gets stored. You've got your clinical system integration, so you would choose your clinical system and how you want it to appear in the patient record as structured data or as a PDF. You can add data sharing agreements if you're working with another practice. You've You've got your organisation message templates, so these ones would be available to everyone in the organisation. You've got your outcomes, so you can change the outcomes that are displayed when you send to clinical and edit them. And you've got your total triage feature. So as you create that request for that patient, you can choose if you want to display the problem type and the ICE/custom questions.